Recently, I ran into a major drawing problem. I was hosting some drawing live streams testing out some markers. These were just cheapo Amazon markers. Somebody asked me to draw Hatsune Miku. I thought this was a great idea. I thought Hatsune Miku was universal knowledge. I've met college students who didn't know who Hatsune Miku was. Is that not weird? Or am I just chronically online? I don't know. Anyway, somebody asked me to draw Miku, and so I started drawing Miku. I drew a couple different Mikus, a couple different versions. And as I was drawing this character, because I've spent a lot of time in my life studying anatomy, but then here's a specific character who has clothing and accessories, things like this. I began to realize accessories, they take a little bit of practice, and they're not easy, and if you haven't practiced them a lot, you're gonna struggle. Recently, I've made the radical decision to only draw shoes. So initially, I wasn't so radical in my approach. I just said, okay, I'm gonna sit down, draw some shoes. You can see here, it's already been on my mind. Now, this first batch of shoes humbled me. The thing about shoes, I'm used to in art, I can take this approach where I create a shape and I make sure it's a nice shape. Then I add some form and some detail and I think, okay, that looks pretty good. The problem with shoes is I'm not sure if there is a simple shape for a shoe. If you're going to heavily cartoon it, yeah, for sure. Shoes, they fluctuate in all three dimensions in all areas. That's annoying. I don't like it. So I'm drawing these shoes and I'm thinking, okay, these are going all right. But, they lack finesse, right? I can draw something that looks solid because I know how to draw, but they lack finesse. This was all on live stream too, so to the delight of my viewers, I spent the entire hour and a half that I was streaming drawing only these shoes. Now, as I've been drawing mostly just these kind of Mary Jane, Doc Martin style shoes. I'll branch out here soon. I like these though. I like to keep it simple, keep it consistent, and the dark values and thick soles, I think they're fun to draw. So as I said, at first my approach here was not going to be particularly radical. I was going to fill this page with some shoes and probably call it good. But after filling this page, I felt like I still didn't possess the level of finesse that I was hoping for. And as I've discussed before, I think that, learning to draw something comes from practical application. You have to actually do it over and over again. As I've learned to draw and as I've learned to teach, what I've realized, and I won't bore you too much here with my pedagogy, but if you would permit me to linger here for a moment, it's like this, okay? Philosophy is philosophy and learning is learning. And philosophy can inform your learning, but learning happens through doing. Learning happens through action. So in other words, I don't care how many YouTube videos you watch on art. You see these videos online all the time, 10 videos to improve your art skills. Those videos are not going to improve your art skills. They are only going to show you where you might want to practice, and then practice will improve your art skills. So you have to actually do. You improve through action, through movement. It's much more akin to learning to bowl. You could not learn to bowl through a textbook. You will always need to actually perform the swing, the bowl, the pitch, etc. Same with drawing. So anyway, I finished this hour and a half and I think, that was good. That was good practice. I need more. And this is when I said to myself, well, hey, let's not stop at one session or two sessions. Let's do infinity. Let's do infinity sessions. So I don't know, look, I'm not going to only draw shoes forever. But for the past couple of weeks, my only real artistic focus has been shoes because I want to build up this muscle memory. So I began to create some actual artworks because I think that doing these series of small sketches, that's the best way to practice, but I wanted to have some fun, create some actual artworks as well. So the first artwork I made, this one took a little bit of work just to kind of get my foot in the door. The original concept that I drew out, the design didn't quite work, and I made the mistake, I didn't thumbnail. I should have thumbnailed. You should always thumbnail, but I thought, you know what, I'm swag and I'm cool and I'm just not going to thumbnail. That was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. So I created this design and actually it's okay. I was showing it to somebody and they were like, yeah, actually I liked that design better. So I don't know. It did have fans look, but I was not that big of a fan of it. So yeah, it wasn't awful. I used the entire sheet of paper that I was using. It was nice. It was big. I created nice clean line work for it, but the design lacked, I would say, a degree of intentionality. And the shoes ended up feeling a little bit stretched and unstructured. They felt kind of bendy and floppy, which that's okay. Just not really what I was going for. I did put quite a lot of work into this particular design though, as you can see, but eventually I ended up ditching it. And I came back the next day, and the next day my goal was basically just to take a better approach to this same design. So what I went ahead and did, I started with a thumbnail. So I first did one thumbnail, I did a second thumbnail, and I ended up just translating the second larger thumbnail into the drawing itself. So I went in there with inks, I inked the thumbnails, and I do commonly ink a thumbnail if I do like it because it allows me to get some feel for the value structure that I'm going to be using. Values are pretty fundamental to a piece. So if you feel like your drawing thumbnail is solid, going in with a value thumbnail, that's a good idea. I quite like this design. I didn't think it was bad. It felt more intentional, more structured. And I even ended up with a color scheme that I thought was okay. So, all right, this drawing to me, it lacked a little bit of depth. And at the end of the day, it was quite a small illustration. So going on to the next illustration here, I wanted to make something that was a little bit larger with a little bit more detail. I wanted to get a better feel for space on this one. And that would end up being a common theme. So I included a full background, foreground, middle ground, background, tried to add some little props props. I've been baking bread, so I added a loaf of bread. You know, as an artist, your art is supposed to your art's supposed to say something, you know? It's supposed to have some sort of meaning. So why'd you put what is the meaning of this bread in your piece? Yeah, I was baking bread, so I just kind of stuck it in there. Anyway, I was actually pretty happy with how this turned out. I really like the way that I designed the shoes. They have a lot of harmony with each other, a lot of rhythm, and the overall design and feel of the shoe is pretty good. There's something I'm missing, and I'm gonna put my finger on it here soon. One more month of drawing shoes, I'm gonna put my finger on it, or maybe even my entire foot. This is shoe art, and then bam, there we go. This drawing I was pretty happy with, though. I also liked how the colors turned out. Okay, so after this, I made another drawing. This one was from a little bit of a different perspective, and I actually, in the final crop, ended up removing the shoes. So here's the full crop, and then on the right, I'll put the final crop. I felt like the piece, it had too much. Either version's okay, but I kind of preferred that tight cropping of the knees. I thought it was a little more mysterious, although the bag that she's holding doesn't read well in that crop. Oh well. And in this one, I really focused on space, you know, as I was coloring and working on this piece, lining it, etc. And so my plan here, I'm not going to draw only shoes forever, but my plan is to just incorporate shoes and accessories in general into every piece that I create. This way I get that practice. I'm a little bored of anatomy, I'm going to be honest. It's not that there isn't still a ton that I could learn. I'm just a lot better at it than anything else already. I kind of want to catch up, you know, on my color and my accessories, because then I can actually make, you know, artworks. Well, of course I can already make artworks. You guys ever notice this? Y'all ever notice how we sabotage ourselves? We say, well, we're not perfect at anything, therefore I can't make an artwork. Or we say, you know, I'm only pretty good at this one thing, but not at this other thing, so I can't really make artworks yet. Homeboy, just draw, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying that to myself. This is me talking to me. Homeboy, me, just draw, you know what I'm saying? Hey, that goes to all you out there as well. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed my little shoe video diary. I'll come back at you with some more deep art philosophy here soon. All right, take care, guys.